Hello everybody, welcome. It's great to be here. Thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it and really looking forward to delivering some value to you. Today, I'm live on LinkedIn, I'm live on Facebook, I'm live on YouTube, and I'm also live on my Results podcast. So I'm on iTunes and on Amazon Music. How cool is that? Isn't that, I don't know, I'm at an age, I think, where I just think that just blows my mind, getting marketing messages out via what is basically TV, radio, fantastic to be able to do that. And, I just love this technology and really try my best to embrace it and use it. So thank you, as I said, for being here. I do appreciate it. I know we're all busy. We've all got things we could do. I'm going to honour the time and try to, make sure it's like a quick, it's like a lunch bite type thing, by all means grab a sandwich or whatever, but don't leave now because, this is going to be good stuff. I really do believe it. So, really try to take this on board. You're probably thinking, past pace the pain. What on earth is that about? It's almost like one of those titles that which is a really interesting headline that makes you think, makes you not sure. And maybe for some of you, you've turned up just because you're thinking, what is it he's going to be talking about? Let me explain. I'm going to explain by giving an example, actually, and I remember this like it was yesterday. But many years ago, I attended a Tony Robbins seminar. Now, if you're in the helping industry, advisory, offering services, and so on and so forth, then there's a pretty good chance you're going to have heard of Tony. He turns over, I believe, $7 billion a year, which is not enough to live on, but it's not a bad start, is it? I say that very tongue-in-cheek. And Tony, I turned up to a seminar, and it was actually at Wembley, and there's this massive queue down the side of the building, and I thought to myself, there must be some sort of concert on or something as well, and Tony's in a room somewhere else. So I go right to the front of the queue, and I say, I'm here to see Tony Robbins. They went, this is the queue. When I got in there's about 11,000 people there, which I thought was pretty incredible. And particularly as he charged about, I think it was about £450. If you times that by 11,000, you'll understand where at least some of the 7 billion comes from. It was a good 3 days or 4 days for him. And one of the things that he said during the session was that he said, he was talking about sales, and he said, you cannot sell anybody anything until and unless they've got a problem. He actually used a nice way of describing that. He said, you cannot sell me an aspirin unless I've got a headache. So our job as salespeople is to give people headaches. In other words, to make them realize the potential problem that we've got. And it's now time to do something about it. And that applies to so many businesses. I'll give you a perfect example. One of the people that I think is actually listening now is a client of mine from a Results Mastery program, John Pryor. Now, John specializes in IP, not internet protocol, but intellectual property. Right? He advises people on that, making sure that your business is safe. Now, for most people, my perception anyway, is that for most people, they don't really know it. They don't really understand it. They don't really understand the implications of it. And it's something that they just sort of know they ought to probably cover a little bit, but it's just at the back of their mind. So they're not thinking about it. They're not thinking about the headache that they could have in the past. The potential problems that could have been caused to their business in the past. And more importantly, they're not thinking about the problems that they could have in the future. You with me? And John's job, in my opinion, I'm sure he'd agree, is that he's got to try to make sure that people are focused on the problem that he solves. You know, I'm sure you all remember A Christmas Carol, you know, Scrooge, yeah? What happened? Well, there's this guy called Scrooge, had a problem. He didn't even see it as a problem. He thought it was doing fine, you know, and everybody else around him basically didn't like him. And he used to say, bah humbug, you know, I've not got a problem, you know, it's the rest of them, you know, this Christmas thing, bah humbug. And, you know, he knew that being mean and being the way he was giving him pleasure. But actually it wasn't. It was causing him all sorts of problems. So what happened? 3 ghosts turned up, the ghosts from Christmas past. Do you remember that? And they highlighted to Scrooge all that he'd missed out of. In fact, they went to show him, didn't they? They put him in the situation. They showed him what he'd missed out on. They showed him all the pain that he'd caused in the past and everything that he'd lost out on in the past. They then brought him back to now and told him about what he was losing out literally now. And then 3 more ghosts turned up, the ghosts of Christmas future, and took him into the future and told him what he was going to miss this year, next year, the year after, and so on and so forth. What happened? They changed overnight. And that's what I want to talk to you about from a business perspective. I'm going to use, if I may, an example. I'm going to give you an example of a potential customer of ours who's got a sales team. And I'm going to do it like I'm sort of role-playing it in a way, because I think that's a good way of putting it over, almost like telling a story. And I'm going to do it as though I'm talking to their sales director, okay? Now, this sales director has got 6 salespeople, and I'm going to start literally now. Okay. So I might say to the sales director, so tell me, what's the target that you've got for sales? And he says in return, well, all our salespeople have individual targets, Steve. It's round about £1 million. In fact, it is £1 million. They've all got a target of £1 million. Okay, I said, how well are they doing? And I'm trying to find the past, yeah, the Scrooge version of the past. Well, at the moment, on average, they create £500,000 worth of business. And I'm just looking down because I've written this down so I get the sums right. I'm sure you understand. I said, okay, so you've got 6 salespeople who are basically at 50% on average of their target market. Is that correct? Yes, he says. So I say to him, so that means that £500,000 worth of sales is missing off your target for each of those people. I worked that out without being an accountant to be $3 million a year. Is that correct? And the sales guy, director looks at me and goes, well, yeah. Okay, so that's $3 million a year. And how long have you been in place? How long has this been happening? Oh, about 5 years, he says. So I said, okay, so that's 15 million in lost sales over the last 5 years. Is that true? And he goes, well, yeah, I suppose so, yeah. You know, he's not very happy at this point. I've built up the pain from the past. Do you get that? I then say to him, okay, so tell me, if nothing else changes, if you keep doing the same thing again and again, would it be right to assume that over the next 5 years, that's going to be another £15 million? Would that be true? Well, yes, he says, if nothing changes, yeah, I'm sure that would be the case. Okay, so let me talk to you about how I think I can help you here. Let's assume, worst case, that I could help your team to get an increase in sales by becoming better at marketing, therefore lead generation, and better at selling, by helping them to develop a sales system and to train those people in how to do that even more effectively, how to sell more effectively. We could get just a 25% increase. Do you think that's reasonable? Well, yeah, should be able to get a 25% increase at least, I think. Okay, so if we work that out, then again, 25% of 500,000, which is what they're turning over now, that equals £125,000 in increased sales. Times the 6 people, that's £750,000 worth of additional sales in the next year. Now, if we time that out over, let's say, the next 6 years, that actually comes to £4.5 million. How's that sound? Oh, that sounds fantastic, Steve. If we could do that, that would be brilliant. Okay, let me tell you about what I'm going to charge you to help you to do that. I'm going to charge you £2,000 a day times 12 days. I'm going to have a day with you each month working on getting you more leads and converting more leads into sales. So that's a total of £24,000. In exchange, we should get, worst case, 4.5 million. How does that sound? Now, for me, how that sounds is I've totally underpriced myself. I don't know about you. Could I have charged 10 grand a day for that? Would you give me £120,000? If I charge you 10 grand a month to help you, £120,000 to get you 4.5 million. Of course you would. Now, I'm giving you that as an example of how you could use the past, the present, and the future in order to market yourself and to develop your business. Now, you may be thinking, well, that's easy for you, Steve. You're in sales. We can quantify that. Well, what happens if you were a weight loss coach? Could you quantify that? Right now, this is how heavy you are. What have you lost in the past? What have you not been able to do? And then in the future, what will happen if you don't do something? How will you feel about that? What will the implications of that be? Well, there could be all sorts, Steve. If I don't lose weight, it could affect my health. I could, get diabetes. It could affect my relationship with my wife. There's loads of things I won't be able to do, like I want to walk to Everest Base Camp and do things and so on and so forth. Yeah, so it's not perfect for every business. Obviously, if you run a pub, you're not going to start. Can I have a pint of lager, please? Well, let me just talk about what you've missed in the past. That would be silly. I know that, but for a lot of businesses, if you're a coach and advisor who's going to help people to improve something, you can talk to them about what's happened in the past and why they are where they are right now, and if they don't change, what's going to happen in the future, and importantly, how they feel about that. Now, one final point before I finish, and that is, are you aware of the sales system around getting an understanding of implication questions, needs questions, and so on and so forth? So I think that is a really great way of developing one system, i.e. the one we're talking about here, which is past pace the pain, and linking that with another system, which is the spin selling system. So make sure that you watch that video if you're part of my Results Mastery University, and if you're not, then look out for it, because I'm probably going to be doing a session on spin selling next week. And spin, just to clarify, is situation, problem, implication, and need. There are a group of questions that you and I need that fall under those things. So if you think about it from the past to the present to the future. We could ask about the situation. We could ask about what the problems were, implications. How do you feel about that? What do you need to do you think? Rather than you being that sleazy salesperson telling people what to do, ask them what to do, and it must be true. So that's it. That's all I want to say. I've gone a little bit over, just 16 minutes and 39 seconds as I speak, but I hope it was of value to you. Don't forget, I do these every day, Monday to Friday. So, tune in. If you're part of my Results Mastery University, you'll get to know about these every day. If not, look out on LinkedIn. If you want to join the Results Mastery University, you can do, and the first month's free. Go to my website there, steve-mills.com. If you want to book a meeting, as it says here, just do so. Be very happy to talk to you about getting better results for you. So thanks very much for listening, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Oh, don't forget, sign up to my connect to me on LinkedIn, subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on my podcast, and I'll give you some more great ideas and ways in which you can grow your business. Thanks very much for listening.